Today I'm going to talk about two things: how to set a proper stop loss, and also why your stop loss is your friend. People get stopped out and they get upset when really your stop loss is there to protect your capital and it's there to help you. So don't get upset. Everyone gets stopped out. It's part of trading. You need to get used to it. It's there to protect you from taking significant losses and essentially you only losing as much as you can afford to lose. Now, let's start with how to set a proper stop loss. So in order to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to give you a concrete example. Your stop loss should be set where your trade has been proven wrong, right? In this case, I am a breakout trader. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for breakout patterns. This is something you'll see a lot of. This is something most of you are familiar with here. So this is, let's say, a bull flag, right? Essentially, the stock went up and then it consolidated a little bit. And then what we're looking for is a breakout above, right? So there are a few ways you can go about setting your stop loss. The first one is, see, once we get a breakout like this, I would usually get into the trade at the breakout level. All right, now where am I proven wrong? Well, there are a few ways you can be proven wrong. The first way you can be proven wrong is if your trade comes back into the range, or worse than that, if it breaks below the flag, right? Now, typically, depending on what time frame you're trading on, if I took this trade on a 5-minute candle and I waited for a 5-minute candle close above that breakout area to get in, then typically I'd look for something similar. If I get a 5-minute candle close back into the range or below the range, that is where my trade idea has been proven wrong. Now, does that mean that it will never retrace and rip? Obviously not. However, you want to place your stop loss where your trade idea has been proven wrong. So the second common way to use your stop loss would be to set it based on price. Now, if you're setting a stop loss based on price, usually what we're looking at is the risk reward ratio. What do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. If, for example, your profit target is all the way up here, it's 704, for example, okay? Let me just draw a little. So let's say you're saying, all right, I think this stock is going to 704. Great. Now you're like, all right, I think that I am wrong if it goes below 698. All right, great. So essentially what this means is in order to have at least a 2-to-1 risk reward here, you would have to go long at 700 or below, right? Now this is traditionally how I would set up my trades. I always start with the stop loss. Where am I wrong? If it drops below this price, I no longer like it, all right? And then essentially that's where the trade starts. You look at, all right, what is a reasonable profit target, or where do I expect this move to go to? Where do I want to get out? And this usually determines where you need to go long, at what price or better. Then, if it makes sense, you take the trade. Point being, in a situation where you use price, then risk reward is essentially one of the most important components. You want to have traditionally at least a 2-to-1 risk reward. If you're risking $2, you want to make at least 4. Sometimes that varies. It could be 2-to-1, 3-to-1, so on and so forth. Some people even trade a 1-to-1. If you're a scalper or you're using other strategies, that may vary. But typically, if you're using price, it's all about risk reward. So that's what you want to keep front of mind. Now, the second part to all of this is people tend to have a bad relationship with their stop loss. Now, I admit no one likes being stopped out, but it's important to understand that your stop loss is there to protect your account, to protect your capital. It's part of trading. Everyone gets stopped out on occasion. As long as your risk reward and your risk management are proper, then the outcome will be positive. So if this was a team sport, I want you to think of your stop loss as the goalie. All right? It's there to save you. It's trying to help. Now, we don't usually celebrate when the goalie makes a save. We usually celebrate when we score. but still the role of the stop loss is important. It's there to preserve your capital, prevent you from taking some huge loss that essentially wrecks your account. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed the content. Tune in for more educational videos on trading.